We'll start with EDWIN Brewers. I would like to ask you, what differentiates loyalty programs when developing tourism?
I think, first of all, I want to thank the selfie man. We'll do selfies as well afterwards. Maybe that will help a little bit. Yeah. So, loyalty programs are very, very important for everybody traveling around the world, we think. With the loyalty program that we have within the Wyndham Hotel Group and Wyndham Worldwide, we have about 25,000 options for people to redeem their points in either hotels with us or in vacation rental that we have around the globe. So it is extremely important to open markets and to bring people who actually are and live in a certain region with their points that they either accumulate with the hotel programs like Marriott and ours, or with the airlines, to discover any new markets out there. And it's a really good way to get our clientele to stay with our brands.
And what do you think about this?
Loyalty programs are very important in driving business, especially low cost. I mean, loyalty members are an important part of the demand in the hotel. So the aim to increase these members are always the essence of the business.
And I would like to ask you, you are the largest hotel company in Turkey. Are you planning to continue growing in Turkey, and are there any other markets where you intend to grow?
Yeah, I think we started about 10 years ago to aggressively grow into Turkey. It took a couple of years to plant the seeds and to get everything sorted out, but by now we are the largest international hotel company in Turkey, followed by a lot of other companies as well. Turkey has had an extremely strong development over the last couple of years. We're at 55 hotels now. We set ourselves a goal for 100 hotels in 2020. So that is really, really important. We also set up actually our regional office for Central and Eastern Europe here in Istanbul to support the hotels in Turkey, but also outside. We started to employ with two about 2 years ago, and now we have a team of 16 working here. So Turkey is very, very important for our market, and we definitely see continued growth here.
And what do you think about support of Turkey?
I think the support of Turkey is definitely there. The tourism is still developing a lot. But we also see that there are many cities around Turkey where branded hotels are needed. And I think Turkey is obviously a very important tourism country, but also a very important industrial country. And we see a lot of people traveling around there as well.
And about the comparison with the other countries in means of support?
I think the support over the last couple of years has been very strong. I think Turkey has supported a lot to develop hotels, financially as well, and the systems over here have worked well to develop. At the moment, we still see a continuation of the growth, and I think the Turkish people take pride in, regardless of the situation in Turkey, to continue to develop the country economically, and they're working very hard on that.
And I would like to ask you, which we've talked before also, well, how do you think the political instability affects the tourism investments?
Travel is affected by a couple of things. One of them is political instability, economic instability, and especially security concerns. I mean, if these three issues are in order, then the travel all around the world increases. But out of these three, I think the major issue is the security concerns here. When the security concerns are eliminated somehow and the consistency can be maintained, then I think the travel, the number of tourists will increase in short to mid-term.
And how does the world see Turkey at the moment as means of safety?
I think it's still, I get all these alerts, and many people who travel a lot, you get security alerts when you travel around the globe. So Turkey is still a country where there is no ban not to travel to. So I think everybody sees Turkey as a place where you need to be alert, but I think nowadays you need to be alert anywhere where you travel. I mean, Turkey has been hit very severely last year, and with a large number of terrorism attacks. But do not forget, Brussels last year, we had Nice, it's all over the place. So I think that today's traveler needs to be alert.
So, as a journalist and a news anchor, I can't stop myself asking these questions. So, does everywhere in the world, each country, after the terror attacks, affect the same way as Turkey? Or does the global media just puts more effect on, the terror attacks in Turkey? And how long does it take for people, for tourists, to forget about a terror attack happened in Istanbul? I mean, after 2 months, 3 months, do they forget it, or does it stay for years?
I think I recall very well the first terrorist attack on the Germans, which was about a year ago from now, I think. It was in January. That had a low ripple effect. Not a lot happened and people continue to travel. It's just a couple of weeks. But if you have a repetition, it's becoming a factor, I think. So the outside world is, and we discussed that just before, so both for the Marriott hotels as for the Wyndham Hotel Group in Turkey, we've seen the MICE business, so the meetings and incentives, where Turkey has been extremely strong. Internationally, we see that declining. And right at the end of last year, we saw our hotels in Turkey getting interest again from international MICE business. And then boom, on the 1st of January, again something happened. So it's spiraling a little bit. I think overall, Turkey has a extremely good image as a tourist destination. I mean, it's amazing, your country. So I'm pretty sure that if it remains quiet for a period, people definitely will come back.
And about the early reservations?
People have very short span of memory. So for leisure segment, it recovers more. It recovers faster than the MICE and Congress tourism. Yes, I mean, if the consistency continues, if nothing happens for a period of time, yes, last-minute reservations can happen. But of course, it depends on nothing should happen for a period of time.
And when we compare with the countries like Spain or Portugal, like they're not terror attacks, how are the reservations change?
I think
maybe we should also talk about the price range,
Yeah.
They are more expensive than us, right?
Yeah, so Spain and Portugal and also Greece have seen an enormous growth in their RevPAR, revenue per available room, in the last 2 years. Actually, if you want to go on a summer holiday in Spain and Portugal, right now, a lot is fully booked, and we see that Greece is filling up now. So hopefully, if everything remains quiet, then the Turkish resorts will come in play again as a first choice.
Hopefully,
yeah,
inshallah.
Sure.
I want to ask you, is there an investment of the year in terms of tourism?
2016, I mean, in Turkey there are some great products, there are great investments, but in 2016 was not a good year for the investments. But I can say that we have signed very promising projects, probable award-winning projects soon to be announced, but they won't be open, until 2018 or 2019.
What are the promising markets in terms of tourism investments?
Istanbul is always in our is the main focus because of its potential, and other big cities like Ankara, Izmir, and Bursa we will keep looking in those cities with all our brands, but also Anatolian cities. Some in the big industrial Anatolian cities is also in our radar, and we're looking at those markets with our 3-4-star brands, and also resorts are. Also, resort destinations are very important. Mediterranean and Aegean region of Turkey is also very important, and we'll be looking into those markets.
Is there anything missing in means of the support from the governments and local authorities for you, for instance? Can you say something like, if this happens, it would be better for us?
I hear from our developers these days that getting permits takes a little bit longer now, because there has been a rotation of people who work for the local authorities over the last half year, I would say. So that's the hiccup that we're getting. Obviously, also the access to funds in order to invest, and the interest rates is something which is heavily important for those people who want to invest in hotels.
But you still think that you want to grow in Turkey?
Oh yeah, we will open this year around 10 hotels in Turkey with various brands, our Wyndham brand, Ramada, Days Inn, we open Hawthorne, so I think that has all been very solidly built over the last couple of years. But at the moment, new investments who will start today, that is not as the pace as we've seen over the last couple of years.
I personally also wonder, we have terror attacks in Ankara, in Istanbul, but there is no terror attacks in the south, for instance. But still, does the tourist think like there is a terror attack in Istanbul, so it's not safe to go to Bodrum also? So they're canceling their flights. Is it like that, or do they mind that, no, it's quite far from Istanbul, so I think Bodrum is safe, I can go, and he or she, the tourist, doesn't change their program? How does it work?
Well, if it's for me, I will continue to go to those beautiful places.
Because you know Turkey.
like Bodrum.
The best sea in the world, but if they don't know it...
Yeah, but that's it. I think everybody is well aware that the south and the Aegean coast and the coast around Antalya is still left without any terrorist attacks. So I think people do understand that. But the general feeling of people is around safety, and whether we like it or not, Turkey today has a mark of terrorism on it.
For the ones who don't know Turkey at all, rather than the mouth of words, do you think we are enough, like telling them how beautiful our country is? Do they know really that we are better than Greece, better than Portugal, better than Spain? I mean, that's not my own idea, but everybody thinks like that, right?
Of course, there are more things that can be done in presenting Turkey to the international markets. Of course, we can't say that we're doing this perfectly. There are things that we can do further, and I'm sure, if that extra mile can be taken, then it will have a positive effect on Turkey image.
Is there anything missing, like might be done more?
Of course, I mean, as I said, more media support, more public relations, more marketing always helps.
When you think about, for instance, I can ask you, you are Dutch, right? You have your own friends, family, relatives, and of course you are growing rapidly in Turkey, so Turkey has a different place in your heart for sure, but you also know the other places which you can go in summer, for holiday, but still, what places do you recommend? Do you recommend Turkey, like from your heart, and do you say that it's safe, it's the best place to go at summer?
Yeah, I travel very frequently. Every week I'm somewhere. About every other 3 weeks, I'm in Turkey. So to my friends and people that I speak to, and if they talk about terrorism, I tell them it's all around. So I don't make any difference of where to go and where not to go. I think the beauty of the country here in Turkey is amazing. We're opening also a couple of resorts in Greece in about 2 months' time. So every region has its beauty, and definitely I'm not advising people not to go. And I'm a bit of an ambassador for Turkey because my heart is with the country. Yeah.
So you also believe that political instability doesn't have much effect on tourism?
No, I think it's purely the terrorism that has the effect. Yeah.
So it's not the political instability, as we've told before, it's about the security.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have anything to add, to talk, maybe some other things about the investments in the tourism sector?
I mean, investments have, of course, been impacted by drop of demand and economic slowdown in Turkey. But I think that this situation also holds opportunities in itself. So currently, carefully planned projects in right locations and right products will be successful in midterm. So we need to carefully assess the projects. You know, everybody on the investment side, on the brand side, the projects needs to be carefully assessed, and opportunity lies in there.
So how can the opportunities, how can we make it all over to turn the opportunities?
Because if you carefully plan the projects now, I mean, this is not gonna go forever. When this market starts to boom, and when you have the right product, you will enjoy the high occupancy, high RevPAR, and high ADRs. So the opportunity lies in the future.
So still the demand is enough, right?
Currently there's a slowdown. Obviously there's a slowdown in demand, but this will not continue forever. So it's gonna stop sooner or later, and the market will start picking up.
But if there isn't any political instability, then the demand will increase. Can we say that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, the security, of course, as we discussed, if security concerns can be eliminated, of course, the demand will pick up.
Yeah. We see that our Ramada brand in 2016 was seen as the fastest growing brand in Europe by PKF. And obviously, Turkey has been very important to us, but there's also other markets where we grow a lot. And I think it's important, wherever we invest as hotel companies, that we work locally with local people and local teams as well, to stay very close and near to the needs of that particular country.
How do you make projects, for instance, combining the global vision with the local understanding?
Excuse me?
You are combining the local understanding with the global perspective, right?
Yeah.
Does it change, like with city to city, or do you just take Turkey as one case?
No, I think it's important that we, for instance, have salespeople on the ground in the countries where we operate, especially if there is a large feeder market. I think last year in summer, we as the Wyndham Hotel Group did a Discover Turkey campaign for the Turkish people in order to make them understand that they actually live in a beautiful country and that they don't need to go outside of their own country. There's so much beauty in their country to travel to. So we actually had a couple of bloggers traveling through Turkey, and we worked specifically on Turkish media. So wherever we go, it's important that we have people who understand the market and speak the language as well.
What is the investment of the year in terms of tourism, according to you?
To come, or?
No. For this year, what was the investment of the year in terms of tourism, according to you?
I think for us, we opened up a new market in Greece, and we opened our first Wyndham Grand in Athens. with local partners there, followed by another 4 hotels that we will open this year. Yeah.
And the promising markets are?
I think promising markets are CIS markets in my region. Over there as well, a lot of political movement, but there is a tremendous opportunity for hotel brands to operate in CIS countries.
You want anything to add? Then thank you so much for participating. Tourism investment season is finished. I'm closing it. Thank you so much for watching.